Good morning, guys. It is 8:20 a.m. on Wednesday. I think it's the 43rd day I'm doing this. I turned on the meditation, took the earbuds out at I want to say 9:30 last night. And I didn't immediately fall asleep. But I just wanted to practice something, I wanted to try something. So instead of turning on another meditation after that, I was doing a little bit of tapping, but really what I was doing is, so the affirmation I really working on is I matter. And then I was also doing gratitude for myself, because that's what I'm really working on more than anything, is building a relationship with myself. And I really tried to be the observer of my thoughts. So at some point I fell asleep, obviously. I don't know when. And I think I woke up probably around 6. And I kind of have a new framework to kind of try. I think what I'm going to start doing is, after my daughter goes to school, unless I have a specific appointment, I think I'm going to go back upstairs and lay down and do a meditation and see if my body and my brain just need more rest. And I think that will be, well, I'm wanting to try it. So I'm listening to the birds chirping this morning, and I ended up watching a video I stumbled upon that was helpful, which I'm always grateful for. And I'm realizing that because the people that badly hurt me do not take responsibility for what they did, I was taking on the role of it must be me, because I was also told that, but it doesn't make it true. So what I'm going to work to let go of is not the feelings, and not, having compassion for people who behaved very poorly, because that's what got me stuck in it for so long, is having compassion. You can have compassion if you also have boundaries, but otherwise you're just hurting yourself over and over again. Because what you're saying is, I know why they're hurting me, so I'm going to continue to let them hurt me, especially if they're not taking any responsibility and they're blaming it on you. It is very difficult to think, is it true that they're all wrong and I'm actually the one that's right? But sometimes that's true. So I'm going to let go of this idea of, because they aren't taking responsibility, that I have to take the blame. No. That's like if you were in the court and you had been hurt and the person who did it pled not guilty, right? Even though they did do it. So you were like, okay, then I'll plead guilty and I'll go to jail for them. That's what's insane, right? But that's basically what happened. So for many years, I was like, what is wrong with me? Because I don't remember doing anything, but clearly I did something to deserve this treatment. It's just not actually true. And many actions were taken on their part to keep me quiet, including very severe medications and, but it's not true. And so that's what I'm going to work on, is I'm responsible for my life, yes. For my life, my actions. And it makes sense why I felt so fractured and split. Because I didn't do anything wrong. But I was treated as if I did to cover up someone else's crimes. And it's like, that's on them. That's not on me. So I'm not going to, blast anyone unnecessarily, but if it becomes necessary, I will. Because I deserve to tell the truth. And I have hurt myself immensely from keeping other people's secrets. That is not okay. So, and yes, there's a part of me that's rising up right now out of fear. But I know that's the part that was actually helpless and was terrified. And when you're a kid, you are like an open vessel. So whatever gets dumped in is your truth and your reality. That is why a family member doing something to you affects you much more than a stranger, or, and much deeper. Because then people are like, oh, well, don't listen to that coworker, at least you have your family. Well, what if it's your family that's doing it? It really is a different animal. And I'm just really excited. Overall, I'm excited because this awareness is true. I'm not lying about anything. And I'm seeing how the goal was to keep me small, keep me quiet, keep me feeling ashamed, but not knowing why I should feel ashamed, because there was nothing to feel ashamed about. But then feeling ashamed about that, like, how do I not even know what I did? Gaslighting, manipulation, brainwashing. But it's not true. And I was watching something even this morning, and people were talking about, medications. And like I said, I'm not even talking against medications. I'm only talking always of my own personal experience, because that's all I can confidently speak of. But it's like with awareness, like someone had lost their son and they went to the doctor for something else, and they were like, oh, I'm going through grief because I lost my son. And the doctor was pushing them to go on an antidepressant. She was like, but aren't I supposed to be sad that I lost my son? And again, there are times where it's necessary, that's fine. But the fact that the doctor was acting like the fact that she was tearing up, there's something wrong with her. No. And on top of it, that actually just blocks it. Yeah. I have a lot of forgiving of myself to do for not standing up for myself. Because I didn't know. I still can see the good in people, and I want to, but I'm going to work hard on not seeing good that isn't there. I'm going to work hard on being like, no, right now this person is saying something very rude. Maybe it's because they're tired, whatever, but the fact is they're saying something really rude, so that I don't internalize that as, what did I do to make them say something rude? No. Because if that were true, why isn't it in the reverse? Why can't I do that? I never did that. So that is why I think I've always had such a trigger about fairness and justice and that type of thing. Because it's like, why is it okay for one person to act that way, and the person they're doing it to needs to forgive them and have compassion for them. How about the person that's doing the crap in the first place? Why don't they have to feel anything, you know? I think that's important because otherwise the cycle just will continue. It has to stop somewhere. So anyway, it's just really good to see, to gain more awareness, and ultimately use that anger that's incredibly justified to fuel me forward. Me forward, though, not allow more people or allow people to continue to mistreat me. It's like, no, use that anger to put a boundary and say, I don't deserve that. And if it's like, well, they just don't understand. Okay, well, then they can do work because they have the same access to YouTube that I do. You know? Like, no. They don't have to. I'm not telling them they have to. But no, I'm not excusing poor behavior anymore. There's just too many resources. If you want to improve your behavior, you can. And especially these people where they have way more resources than I even have. It's like, no. And notice I'm not saying improve like anxiety, I'm talking about like screaming at people, being abusive. You know, it's like, no. There is this low-level, widespread gaslighting of don't play the victim, take charge of, take responsibility for your life. Absolutely. I agree with that. But how about we also talk to the people who are being abusive and be like, don't be the victim and don't continue the cycle. Like, it goes both ways. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking charge of my life. And when I think of my life and my actual actions, I'm doing amazing. So it's like, okay, I don't need to feel guilty for distancing myself from people who not only treated me horribly, but also refused to take responsibility, refused to ask for forgiveness and all that. It's like, just like that's your choice to not take responsibility, it's my choice to be like, I'm not okay with it, you know? And that doesn't make me a bad person for not wanting to continue to take abuse, right? So I would just implore you, if you have someone that's objectively treating you really badly, and you kind of find yourself saying, am I crazy? Or be like, well, let's write this down. Let's write down what I'm doing and what they're doing. Let's write down the facts. Let's be an observer. If you have two people and one of them is screaming in the other's face, who is the person that's out of control? The person that's screaming in the other's face, right? It's just been so backwards. So it's helping me, though, as I'm processing all of this. Because I have stopped the cycle from the beginning. But then I was holding all of the stuff because I don't pass it on. But then it was destroying my body because they were also very quick to be like, well, you're obviously the problem. It's like, but I'm not the one that's doing the abuse or screaming, so how am I the problem? So anyway, I know the truth now, and now I need to and want to build a relationship with myself and forgive myself for what I've allowed happen to myself. And that starts with the very least making sure it never happens again. and being really proud of myself for being really almost unbelievably strong in character and integrity, that I did not pass it on. So that being said, I'm going to go take a shower because I'm going to hang out with a friend today, and I'm excited for that. And I'm going to drink some water and just kind of let this sink in as I'm separating what's actually my crap versus other people's. And my crap is the stuff that I've done. That's it. So, anyway, hope this helps. Love you guys.